Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney Plus.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
Gary the Snake.
And your last name?
The Snake.
Dream Team. And new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home. Zootopia 2, now available on Disney Plus, rated PG. And right now you can get Disney Plus and Hulu for just $4.99 a month for 3 months with a special limited time offer. Ends March 24th. After 3 months, plan auto-renews at $12.99 a month. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
All right, Katie, we've had our experiences raving about Five Iron Frenzy albums and then having the members of Five Iron Frenzy on the show. We were a hung jury on our feelings on the W's, I would say. I still love both of their albums. You were not sold on the W's, but then I was on a podcast with one of the members of the W's, and we hit it off because of our mutual love of Kesha and Goldfinger, and then Val over here listened to our episode, and I thought it would be fun, to get a little bit more similar to how the guys in Five Iron give us a little bit more perspective on what was going on in the band at the time that they were working on those albums, give us a little bit of a perspective of the W's, but also Val has brought a guest with him, his wife Heather, who had the distinction of being on the road for large chunks of the W's career. And I would love to hear the first. I mean, I'm willing to bet, Heather, were you, not to make a general assumption here, but were you running the merch table at any point?
God.
I may have purchased a CD from you in a very hot church basement in Pennsylvania once.
Oh yeah,
that was so gross. It was raining sweat from the ceiling. I can feel that right now.
That is both the best and worst show I've ever attended in my life. Like, lineup and the energy of that show was like still one that I think about, but the feeling of being in an overpacked basement with that many bodies, I never want to experience again.
It like defines the word moist for me.
Yeah, Katie, when I tell you
I've
that
heard
this
this a
show
couple
was,
times, but yes.
but I think the part that gets lost is that it was also the summer. Like, it was in the summer.
Yeah.
In a windowless basement.
Yeah, you were
that
baptized by
packed
sweat.
Packed at least 200 more people than were supposed to be there. And you could not walk across this linoleum floor without slipping and sliding.
There was puddles of sweat at the back because they were squeegeing the floor
It was raining.
to the back of the venue, the basement, whatever.
Raining.
Yeah. It was
That's a lot. That's a
the
lot.
grossest show I've ever been to. But I was charmed by the W's, who did something that I thought was a real ballsy move at the time, which was just invite anybody on stage who knew the words to Country Road.
I've always said you should finish your set with a cover, because they didn't like any of your songs. At least maybe they'll like that one.
Yeah, my rule of thumb when I was doing shows, I would play acoustically. Which was, I didn't want to be someone's favorite performer nor their least favorite performer. I just want it to be the one that they could not stop talking about that night at the diner.
I think you just summarized the W's very well.
I mean,
you nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah.
But that bill, like, looking back at that bill, Reliant K opening, which would like never happen again for the next 40 years or whatever, but Reliant K album wasn't even out yet. They were selling a single of 3 songs at the time because they
were babies. They were such precious babies.
I remember that was when every show ended with Matt Thiessen turning into a chicken and clucking the rest of the set. Like, it was they were so weird going out there for it. But then, like, following that up with a band like Soul Junk that is such an out there, like, hip hop, electronica, avant-garde, like,
with a little bit of surf guitar in there.
Yeah, like, it was just such a strange sound. And then following it with Fillmore, that's like 80s hair metal mixed with pop punk.
Yeah.
And then it's time for swing and ska music. Like, it was the wildest bill of sound that I've seen in a long time. But at the time, was that the last major tour for the W's? Because that was for Trouble with X. And
was that after the Holy Roller Tour?
Yeah, it was.
I think it may have been.
Or was that the Holy Roller Tour?
It was not the Holy Roller Tour, because I missed the Holy Roller Tour. I think
it must have been after the Holy Roller Tour then, because I don't think the label signed Soul Junk until after.
Okay.
After that. And I think Holy Roller Tour was the first tour we went on after we got married. And so that was your first tour.
Yeah.
How old were you guys when you got married?
I was 25.
Okay.
I was 21.
Okay, nice.
All right.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys
We had known each other for like a year when we got married, like literally.
Oh, wow.
And here we are. What is it, like 20-something years later? 27 years later.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Hey, they say when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
we
awesome.
met in 1997, I think. Like before my band was signed or anything.
Yeah.
We were just like playing shows with
Wasn't it 98? Because we got married in 99.
We got married in 99, yeah. But we actually met before that.
Oh, but just like
And
in
you,
line for
like-
the bathroom.
Yeah. At a show we were opening for Dime Store Profits for their final show.
Okay.
And she liked Dime Store Profits, so she came. And then her friends started talking to me in line for the bathroom. It was just one bathroom. And so I started talking to her. And then a few nights later, we opened for Five Iron in Modesto. She loved Five Iron.
I knew we knew each other.
And you knew Five. Yeah, you knew each other too.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then I talked to her there and danced with her, and I tried to get her to write her email down. We used to have like email lists,
Oh my God,
back in the
yes.
90s.
Yep.
And so I tried to get her to write her email down, and I could not read her handwriting. So
You a
next
doctor
time we came
by
to the Bay,
profession?
the next time we came to the Bay Area, I saw her. We played a show, and her friend came, but she didn't come. And I asked him, I'm like, "Oh, where's Heather?" And he's like, "Oh, she doesn't like your band, you know."
No.
She doesn't want to come see the W's. I don't think he said it like that, but and so Five Iron was playing 2 Ska Against Racism shows in San Francisco, one in San Francisco and one in Berkeley. And so I asked him, I'm like, which show of that is she going to? And he's like, she's going to the one in Berkeley. So I'm like, okay. So I went to the Berkeley show and I saw her again and talked her up and got her email and made sure I could read her handwriting the next time.
That's
And,
amazing.
Oh,
I love
that's
that
really
story.
cute.
Yeah.
Did you really?
People always are like,
Did you really say anything to the effect of like how you felt about their band, Heather?
I thought they were funny, but I was like, whatever. There's all kinds of bands that come through with Five Iron, and there was a club, a Christian music club in
We're making air quotes.
Yeah, air quotes.
Yeah.
Sorry. That people came through, and I was there all the time, and so there were all kinds of bands.
except
and I
for
went
the
to,
next time my band came through, you weren't there.
Well,
because you didn't care.
And I went to a Christian college where every guy had a band, so it was just like whatever. There's so many bands and Scottish bands, and everyone's into the swing dancing.
Didn't you? The guy you dated before me was like
He was in a band.
he was like a coffee shop type.
Yeah. So it was just like, oh, whatever. It's another band. I mean, I love Five Iron, and they were friends and stuff, so we would go hang out and see them when they were in town. But it was just like, oh, whatever. The W's are just another one. It's fine.
Well, so, I mean, there is something to be said. When we were talking before we hit record, you had mentioned, like, when we recorded Fourth from the Last, those were the 12 songs we had.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, and I wanted to talk about that because, you know, Five Iron talks about this in their documentary, The Rise and Fall of Five Iron Frenzy. Like, they talked about how there was this one issue that they had with Fame, specifically with 5 Minute Walk, which was like, they felt like they were not allowed to tour with other bands, and that because they were the big name band, that 5 Minute Walk was like, well, you're going to headline the show, and here's all of the bands that we just signed that are going to be kind of your supporting act. But in our episode, like, you guys put out the biggest debut that 5 Minute Walk had ever had. Did you guys ever feel like that was kind of going to be pressured? Like, did you ever feel that level of like, oh, we're going to kind of be the next Five Iron to this label? Or
not like that. We always just got put on. So we were always being compared to Five Iron and told, why can't you be more like Five Iron? Why can't you write more songs like Five Iron? Why can't you be better songwriters? Why can't you do this? You know.
And then there's
was that like Dennis writes one of the songs on Trouble with X?
Yeah, he wrote a song on Trouble with X that he showed it to us and we're like, yeah, it's a cool song. We'll record that.
Okay.
The stupid song. But so we were always being compared to them. So I never thought, oh, we're going to be over them because we were still always opening for them on tour.
But you guys got to tour with I would argue you toured with bigger acts in the Christian music scene because you did a DC Talk tour. You know what I mean?
But then we'd go back to touring with Five Iron and we'd be opening for them again. So.
That's true.
Sure.
Okay.
The only time they opened the show was when we played in Oregon on the Holy Roller Tour for I think the Portland show and maybe the Eugene show. We actually headlined because it was our
your
hometown.
Yeah.
But that's like the only time I think they ever they opened for us. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you did talk about this a little bit on the podcast that we met, but I would love to discuss a little bit of the DC Talk situation because literally today I was listening to Reese's podcast that he does with Joe from The Insiders, and Joe had we'll just say he had some disagreements with DC Talk at Creation Fest that he aired. where DC Talk got so upset with him that the entire band's credentials were stripped from them despite being a main stage performer.
Oh
wow.
Creation. That's not shocking.
That's
not surprising.
I was going to say, is this a shocking information from your experience with DC Talk, or was it
we got
a bit
along
of a...
well.
Yeah.
We got along well with the three guys in DC Talk, you know, and their band and the road to, you know, everybody. We usually got along well with everyone because that wasn't in another. I mean, if they were a band smaller than us, then a lot of times there was all these bands that were like, you know, they thought we didn't work hard enough to get our success.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they should have had the success we had. And so they would get mad at us and think we were dicks. But I think we got along with everyone at DC Talk because, you know, we were opening for them. So they didn't care. They didn't feel like we were upstaging them.
The issues are more with like management and how much you had to sell your T-shirts for, how long you could hang out with kids after the show. Like those were the issues.
That wasn't, they didn't want us hanging out like out in the out in the main areas or whatever after we played, because then we'd be drawing people away from DC Talk.
Oh no.
And I was like, no, these kids don't, if they're here to see DC Talk and they spent money on their DC Talk ticket, they're not going to hang out with us.
No,
and if kids
DC
Talk.
And if kids are paying the money just to see the W's, they are going to not stay to watch DC Talk anyway.
Yeah. Which I would get people in on the guest list, and they would just watch our band and then leave.
Yeah.
Well, and that was core to you guys, was being able to hang out with the fans.
Yeah.
Making sure that things were priced so fans could afford it.
Yeah. And I think we made the argument that, you know, if people were there to see DC Talk, they were going to watch DC Talk. They weren't going to hang out with us. So we weren't, we weren't stealing anybody from their crowd or whatever. And that wasn't an issue that like Toby Mack had, who was Toby was kind of like the head of everything DC Talk. And the other two guys were just like, whatever, dude, make the choice and we'll follow you.
Sure.
Yeah. So Toby and I always got along, and we'd explain something to him and he'd be like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Except for the whole t-shirt thing, which we kind of went into the Goldfinger thing. They said when we started going tour with them, they're like, you can have as many colors as you want of t-shirts. You can have 2 designs, many colors as you want. You can sell 1 CD and 1 other thing. And so we had this like called the W's Fun Pack that had like a photo in it and like a patch or something and some pins, stickers. But anyway, so we're like, okay. So we had like this one design that had 3 colors and another design that had 2 colors of t-shirts. And the first night we play and we're selling all these t-shirts, and their merch guy lost his mind. And he's like, you're stealing money from DC Talk. You're taking money out of their pockets by selling more than they sell. And
what?
And they're like, okay, yeah, you guys can only have 1 color. You can only have 2 shirts, period, And we're like, that's not that's not the deal we signed for this tour, you know? And they're like, well, things have to change. And we're like, no, that's not, you know, we argued for a long time, but it didn't it didn't go our way. We had to have,
which like,
we started being able to give away a 5-minute walk compilation disc with every t-shirt we sold was like the compromise they made. So
yeah, it's also one of those circumstances where I'm a merch guy for a couple different bands. And like, while we've never dealt with that specifically, there is something to be argued that maybe, just maybe, people aren't spending money at the DC Talk table at the DC Talk concert because they're already fans who have the things that you're selling at the DC Talk table. Yeah. And they've just discovered this new and exciting band that they don't have things.
Yeah. And it didn't really slow down our merch sales any.
No, that's all that matters.
That's good.
Then, but still,
we would usually make what they said was, we would make $1 a head, basically. Like if there's 1,000 people there, we'd make $1,000 in merch.
Okay.
And their merch guy was like, I'm gonna keep you under $1 a head. Like I don't know why he had this it was a whole competition for him, and we were stealing money from him if we made more, but we continuously made $1 a head on that tour, and he didn't like it, and whatever.
That's so weird. That's
Fuck
so
him.
weird and petty.
Very capitalistic.
Oh, can I swear on your podcast?
Hell yes.
Oh boy, do we!
Okay.
It's encouraged.
I couldn't remember. Sorry.
So the things that I want to talk about beyond just like the touring stuff is, so at the time, from my memory, as obviously being a little bit younger than you guys as a fan, not a person who was old enough to be in a band, I remember the 90s as this moment where swing did out of nowhere explode.
Yeah.
And I would probably point to like the beginning of that being like The Mask coming out in 1994 with that started to bring swing in, and then there was the Gap commercials like a year or two later, and then next thing you know, like the late 90s, there's this year and a half of all these swing bands.
Yep.
And true to its nature, the Christian music industry just jumps right on there.
Yeah.
What I've always loved about you guys, and I truly mean this, is I bought into all that crap when I was a kid. So I bought Swing Praise Volume 1 and 2 and all of this like genuinely insincere garbage that's jumping on a bandwagon with no actual love or appreciation for the music that it's being. And I don't feel that way about the W's. Like when I listen to the W's, I'm like, these guys are doing a waltz on their album. Like, you don't decide to do a waltz song because you heard Brian Setzer one time. You do it because you actually like this genre of music enough to want to have a waltz song.
We played like the music we wanted to play.
Yeah.
So
how did you find? I guess my question is, how did you find that many like-minded people that wanted to sincerely play swing music?
So I don't know. You remember the band, the Cherry Poppin' Daddies?
Yeah.
They were from Eugene, Oregon, which was just down the street from us. So we would see them at local shows a lot before they exploded. And
infamously a ska band that just had a few swing songs until things
which
exploded.
Is kind of what we thought we were going to be. We're like, oh yeah, let's just, we'll start out as a ska band, but we didn't even really start it as a ska band. It's just ska was popular. And, we met at college. This guy, Zach, that was friends with a bunch of us. He decided he was going to be the drummer. He wanted to start a band really bad. And he got Andrew because he knew Andrew was writing songs to play guitar, Todd to play the bass, and I played sax. I enlisted my friend to play trombone. We played like this talent show. And we played 3 songs that we had like kind of stupidly written. And then after that, it was like my friend Matt didn't want to be in a band, so he quit. Zach moved to Seattle to join, to go work at Tooth and Nail, so he quit. So we got a new drummer. Andrew had gone away to some kind of Santa Cruz mission trip, and he met Brett there, the trumpet player, and so was like, hey, do you want to be in this band? And so Brett joined up, and Andrew's roommate that year at college was James, the other sax player. So
cool.
It's like kind of like how we formed, it's like, oh, we're kind of gonna be a band, then kind of not, and then no, but we do want to do this, and so just grab a bunch of people and
Was there
Andrew was writing lots of songs, and
I mean, was that a Christian college that y'all went to, or
no, we went to Oregon State University.
Oh, okay, cool.
In Corvallis, Oregon. So yeah. No, and it wasn't.
I was
like,
going to ask,
Christian
was it
music
a
was really
Christian
big,
band,
but-
or was it just that Andrew happened to be a Christian and wrote some Christian
We
songs?
were just all Christians, and
Okay.
you know, I mean, it was a big part of our life at that, you know, 90s Christianity.
Yes.
It was a big part of your life.
Huge
You were a
deal.
college kid,
Yeah.
so and I had never even listened to Christian music before that,
Yeah.
so I didn't even know Christian music was really a thing.
Oh wow.
And our friend JP introduced me to like MXPX, and he's like, "Oh, you like Green Day? Here, listen to MXPX."
Sure.
You
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
And I listened to that and fell in love with that, and started going to shows in Portland that were like Christian music shows with tooth and nail bands and stuff. And
Which you're answering another question that I think we
Yeah.
had on that episode of, are these songs about actual people? And you said your friend
Oh, yeah.
JP, who there is
Yeah.
a song called JP.
yeah, because so while we were in college, you know, we were doing the W's, and it was kind of picking up, and the guys were just kind of skating around, not really going to class, just writing songs, and we were all just kind of dropping out, you know, and thinking like, we'll do this. And so JP wrote this like poem and pinned it to their door, to Andrew and James's door, and we thought it was really funny that he thought, you know, we were going to become big time, and we're just like, let's just turn this into a song and make fun of ourselves. And
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so
I,
he
I
wrote
know
this
exactly.
poem.
Yeah, that's
we
the
just
Why
called the
Don't You
song
Just
JP,
Grow Up song.
because
Yeah.
he had written the poem. Yeah, and he kind of just, you guys need to grow up, quit skating all day, and you know. So yeah,
I think for us, we thought it was a song to your friend JP,
JP.
because I've had so many friends write songs about their friend, being
Oh.
like, dude, you're wasting away. You're so talented. Why aren't you out there doing more?
nope. It was him kind of making fun of us, and us being like, yeah, let's make that into a song. Let's make fun of us too. And,
I love that.
Oh,
I
that's
love
great.
the reframing of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that doesn't shock me. I never really thought about you guys not being a Christian band until you had said something in an email of like, we were barely a Christian band. And I texted Katie about it, and I'm like, I'm looking at the track list again. And really, Moses and the Devil is Bad are the only two songs that are like
Super Christian.
overtly religious songs. Maybe open-minded, like question mark, but I think that open-minded could be about anything.
That was about
where, yeah,
that was about people in Corvallis. Like they'd watch us play, and they'd be like, "You guys are awesome." They'd talk to us afterwards, and then they'd find out we were Christians, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't like you anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're just
Okay.
telling us you liked our band a second ago."
yeah.
And then all the Christian people that were like, "You guys need to write more Jesus songs. You
Yeah.
need to get really Jesus-y."
Which,
we were just like,
ugh.
So everybody's
That's
People
not-
people would bring CDs back to the merch table and try to return them because there wasn't enough Jesus on the album.
whoa.
Multiple times that
And
happened.
meanwhile, you're getting the other side that's like, it's too Jesus-y just for a regular.
because we are Christians,
Yeah.
Not
Which-
even because of the song content,
Okay.
you know?
I do think I'm trying to remember the episode, but I think in the episode I did say that I felt like the song was written in both directions, saying
Yeah.
like the crowd needs to be more open-minded at the fact that we're Christians, but also that the Christian crowd needs to be more
It
open-minded
was
to
more
the
of a
fact that
thing
we're
'cause
musicians.
those punk rock kids would talk about how open-minded they were
Sure.
all the
Yeah.
time,
Sure,
you
sure,
know,
sure.
and then they liked us until they found out that we were Christians, and then they didn't like us anymore. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're really open-minded, you know. You
What was that like?
Well, not to
for-
pull a 5-minute walk and compare you guys to Five Iron Frenzy once again, but like it's not that far different from what the inspiration for them writing Handbook to the Sellout was
Right.
about like Christians getting annoyed that MXPX was on MTV. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
what?
What was that
I
like
always
for
said-
you, Val?
Oh.
Like just having not really seen or been a part of the Christian music community, and then being part of a band that identified themselves as Christian, but like weren't really fitting into one world or the other.
So in the very beginnings of the band, I would drop F-bombs all the time on stage and stuff, and I still drop F-bombs all the time, and they'd be like, "Dude, you can't do that. There's people's moms watching. There's there's little kids in the crowd."
Sure.
And I had been in punk bands before that where that wasn't a problem.
Of
We
course.
would play these shows, and so I was like, "Oh yeah, okay. I do need to I need to take into consideration what the other guys in the band want the band to be, and also what But I was still like, I'd be like, I'm 21. I can drink if I want to,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And they were all under 21. So they're just like, yeah. And when we got signed to 5 Minute Walk, they were like, hey, you're a Christian band now. You can't drink on tour anymore. And I was like, I'm 21. I can drink if I want to. I don't care, you know, and I would just do what I want. Yeah.
Okay. Did they make you sign like a clause or something to like a?
No,
Okay.
no. They were just like, this is a rule. And yeah, She can tell you.
Heather?
It depended on where we were and what context. Like,
Gotcha.
there were a few times where we ran into it because, like, I came to Sacramento once to see them, and we weren't married yet. We were engaged at the time, and it was like the middle of the night when they were done. The roads were like full of fog. Sacramento was really bad that way. And one of the 5-minute walk people was like, you can't stay in the hotel room, even if you're with all the guys in the hotel room. You can't be seen coming out, because it was a Christian youth conference. So if I was seen coming out of the hotel room, and then also while we were engaged, and I flew out to Nashville because they were on the DC Talk Tour. Like, he basically left for the DC Talk Tour our entire engagement. It was like, got engaged in January, he left, and then we got married 2 weeks after the tour ended, or something really close like that. So I flew out to see him.
I didn't plan it that way.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean,
it was all because of the record label schedule.
Yeah.
Like, our wedding had to be planned around.
And we had
record
one
label.
wedding date picked, but then Reese was going to get married on that day, so we weren't allowed to have it as a wedding date.
Didn't happen,
real?
though.
So yeah, then
Probably
Reese's
not a good
wedding
date.
fell
Yeah.
through. So no, they're like, you can't get married June 18th.
Oh,
That's when Reese is getting married.
the infamous
one that-
ugly day girl.
I was just
Okay.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep,
Ugly
they're like,
day.
you can't get married that day, and we're like, you don't all have to be at our wedding. I don't care. They're like, nope, you can't.
But
have to
you know
have
what?
a different day.
I will say that I do think that that's adorable, in the sense of, like, you know, my friend was on the same record label as Fall Out Boy and Paramore and Panic at the Disco, and he's gone on tours with all those guys many a times. They're not invited to his wedding. Like, he didn't have that level of, like, friendship
yeah.
and
It was a
synergy. Like, it
very-
does.
It was too close sometimes.
Yeah, it was very
so-
familial.
But so I was flying out to see him in Nashville, and someone from the record label picked me up at the airport because they ended up having to record the VeggieTales song that weekend. It was supposed to
I
be a
was
weekend
just
off,
about to
and
ask about the rumor
and it
weed.
ended up being VeggieTales weekend and Dove Awards weekend too.
We would always plan things and buy plane tickets, and they'd be like, I don't care what your plans are. You're going to do
Doesn't
this.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get there. This record company guy picks me up, and he's like, "You guys are not to have sex this weekend. You are not to be in his hotel room." Like, literally, this man is saying this. I'm 21, just barely turned 21, and this is acceptable ways to talk to people at that time in 90s Christianity.
Yeah,
like,
no, totally, because it's the verbal contract of. I mean, totally familiar with the sort of that, like, impending, like, this is how you behave, this is how you react to things, this is how.
Oh, because you did the
appear.
Christian college.
Yeah, I mean, I did the Christian college
and
too.
I did too.
Yeah.
And I should say too, at the time I was a youth pastor. I'm still a pastor, but it was like, so you're just like assuming all this about me and assuming it's okay to have this conversation with me. And it was because we were in Nashville, so especially there,
Yeah.
couldn't give the appearance of evil in Nashville.
Yeah.
So we slept in the same hotel room anyway.
Yeah.
I love that.
Rebels.
Good.
Good.
Yeah,
We could split
good.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have sex, but we slept in the same hotel room.
that's true.
We did wait till marriage for
This
that.
is true. Yeah.
We were
I'm
good,
actually
good
very
We were
Christian
good
kids.
90s Christian kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Kind of.
What was that like for you, Heather? Like, just getting that, like, constantly. Is that something that was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this makes sense, or?
I mean, it was like all the true love weight stuff, and that was all huge. So I hated it.
It made
but
her
was-
very angry.
It made me really angry. I mean, still to this day, it makes me angry. that that even
Understandably,
happened.
yeah.
You know,
Um,
I just had a beautiful conversation with the pastor at the church that I work at, where, like, I don't even remember how it came up, but he was talking about, like, yeah, that church does a lot of purity conversations with college students, and he's like, I just think that that's more damage than help. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't feel bad that I work at this church, knowing, like, these little, God bless that I, like, work at a church with a human that is a human.
Yeah.
That has,
Yeah.
like, human
Yeah.
emotions and understands human beings and, like,
It's not
their
just
needs
for
and wants.
it's not just for the audience facing
Exactly.
Yeah.
imagery.
Exactly. I was like, I love that. Like, that's so beautiful to me.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we've come a long way from that time in most sections. And I wish it was in more places. And
But you know
Yeah.
what? I think
can't imagine-
there's a bigger, like, motion within the deconstruction era of a lot of, like, coming away from the 90s the early 2000s Christianity. I think there is a lot more, you know, people speaking up and being like, that's not really what that's about.
Right.
No. Well,
exactly.
that's I think that the deconstruction thing is this inevitable thing that was going to happen.
Sure.
Right? Because for this long time, there's a long time there were people that were growing up in the church and they were having good, I won't say great, but they were having good memories, like being in a community and going to Christian concerts and doing all this. And then somewhere along the lines, hundreds of us, or not even thousands upon millions of us, have had that moment where we were told that we were wrong about something that we very much knew that we were in the right over. And a lot of it was when you're in your 20s, and your instant in your 20s is just like, well, then fucking burn it all down. None of this is real.
Yeah.
And then over time, I've heard Pete Holmes describe Rob Bell in this way, where it's like you feel an ache of something that you miss from that time. And I think that that's what the deconstruction part started, was like, I do feel like something's missing now that I've walked away from this, and I don't know quite what it is. And then you like go back to these memories and be like, it wasn't the Christianity that was wrong. It was the people who were in charge of the Christianity
The rules.
that have been wrong this whole time, that have misinterpreted these verses or weaponized these verses, or like, and then people are coming back going, well, I don't know if I'm going to say I'm a Christian, but if I am, it's by my terms and by my understanding of this word, and not what someone up at a pulpit is telling me is what it's supposed to be. And I think that's beautiful. I think everyone needs to go through that.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I think deconstruction is just it should just be a part of faith anyway, right?
Yes.
You should be constantly deconstructing and doubting and questioning and wondering. And it's supposed to be wonder, and it's supposed to be a journey that we never finish, right?
Yeah.
So to think that we own it and we have it locked in, and I think that's a huge part of why we're in the situation we are in our country today, is because Christians decided that we had it all figured out, and this is the way it should be. And look what we did.
Preach it, Heather. Preach it, Heather.
Yeah. As a pastor, I am all for deconstruction. I'm all for questioning. I'm always like, question me.
Yes. It's important. It's
so important. It's one of the things that I've been telling like family members who are deeply entrenched in sort of like the non-deconstructed version of a lot of this, and it's so anti-question, and I think that's the only reason why I feel like I'm here today, is because I kept questioning things. And although it's a pushback, and especially for females, and I'm so curious, Heather, how just in your own scope of like from back in the 90s to now, like how your own job has changed. But I love hearing a pastor say, keep questioning.
I should say question respectfully, please.
Oh, sure.
There's lots of people. I spend time at our ICE facility outside supporting people that are protesting and trying to help our neighbors. And I get there's a lot of counter protesters down there that want to scream and shout at me because I'm a woman in ministry and want to judge everything I'm doing down there. So I don't engage in those questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're just going to write me off and speak to me disrespectfully, but if you want to question and dig into what I'm trying to teach or we're trying to talk about, absolutely. Like, I love that stuff. That's so important. But as a woman, definitely, a lot of it starts with judgment first with me and trying to say, you are doing this wrong. And instead of like, tell me about why you're doing this. Thankfully, I had some men in my life as I was young in ministry that didn't do those things with me and were really respectful of who I was, but and
supportive of your whole journey and everything.
Who I am and my position as a pastor. But there's so many that they will just automatically come in a very judgmental way, and just it's not questioning in a like let's figure this out together. It's question in like, you're just wrong, and it doesn't matter what I say because you've already written me off. Right. You're my judge and my jury. And
we've decided we can't have any more of those conversations with the assholes down at the counter protesters nowadays.
Yeah.
It just it isn't productive, and it's
if someone's respectful about it, absolutely.
Sure.
That's kind of like I've fallen into. I have a very right-leaning family, which is the antithesis of almost all of my beliefs. But I still love them. They're my family, and I've kind of just learned like, I just can't engage in nothing good is going to come from having the dinner conversation of how do we feel the president is doing right now. Like all that's going to happen is I'm going to be angry and dinner's ruined.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like,
and it's heartbreaking though, isn't it? Not to be able to talk about these things with family members and have, like, we used to take our ballots or like the ballot guide when we were in California to our church small group and be able to talk through the ballot measures and the candidates and have like a civil
conversation,
discussion and disagreement. And it's so sad that we've gotten to the point, where we can't question with any genuine care and empathy. It's just all
or
like
trying
so
to
divided
understand.
and judgmental. Yeah.
That being said, I will say, and I still haven't engaged in these conversations, but in the family chat, as we're talking about deconstruction, I'm seeing a deconstruction of their own politics a little bit here and there as more things are like so how do I say that? I'll just say this as vaguely as possible. I have a sister who is a regular guest on Newsmax.
Oh, wow.
And I, at a recent family party, happened to cross through the kitchen. And she was having a conversation with my brother-in-law, and Epstein came up, and she made the comment, "You know how much I supported that man, but this is where I just no longer can." And
Hallelujah.
I'm like, I wish I knew more context of what I assume that conversation was, but it's like, I'm gonna just jump to the conclusion for the time being that, like, finally the veil is falling on some of those
it's that
hyper-specific
SNL sketch.
people. It is.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh.
One of the best in years. That's so incredible.
Well, I hope that we can receive people in that, like,
and that's the forgiveness thing that I feel like has been missing from at least cultural American Christianity in the last couple of years is the where the acceptance line is. And I think there's been a redoubling down of like what the boundary setting needs to be, and that's why we're getting further and further away from different sides of our family. But coming back together requires that sort of forgiveness and understanding and questioning with the intent to understand and empathize. That I feel like has been so acidically torn away, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we just did Ash Wednesday. We did 2 services down in front of our ICE facility. And as we were doing it, I gestured over and went, we have to be non-judgmental and forgiving even of them. Like, that's our job as Christians. Like, the other protesters around me don't have to do that, but I have to do that. Right? Like,
I also feel not empathy towards all of them. But
no, if they want to be forgiven, if they make a change and they want to be forgiven.
But I was gonna say, like, you know what? As easy as it is, I think South Park captured it kind of beautifully in their version of doing the ICE episodes with Mr. Mankey, where it's like, yes, is there a large percentage of people who are signing up for ICE, these meathead jocks that are really excited? There's also a whole bunch of people who just need money. And ended up in a really crappy situation where now we're finding out contract isn't letting them walk away if they want the money that they're owed, signed up to get. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for, we've all done dumb shit when we are dead broke and need to pay a bill. Like, I feel awful knowing that there are people who just need it to get out of some type of debt, and this seemed like a quick fix answer, and now they're locked in for 5 years at least, and everybody hates them, and their family won't talk to them, and doesn't understand that they can't leave, or they're going to be even more debt than what made them sign up in the first place.
Right. Well,
to get out of that
I think
debt.
that's indicative of just like not just deconstructing like Christianity or anything, but like also the capitalism that we've been raised in, and like how we get out of debt. Everything has a much longer conversation than our first review of the W's album.
It sounds snippy. It sounds snippy in a soundbite. It sounds great as a Facebook post.
Yeah. You're right.
But if you take the time to dive deeper, there's so much more under that surface.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg, and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
Refreshing wild cherry cola meets smooth cream. The treat you deserve. Pepsi Wild Cherry and Cream. Treat yourself.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25 and 4/30/26. See app for details.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
I do want to jump to an album that Katie hasn't heard yet for a second, but
well, first I want to say there is a lot that is cringy about the lyrics on the first album. Okay. You're not wrong. And
listen, you can't explain away Pup.
And no, you're wrong again.
Yeah.
Pup is about breaking into someone's house to feed their dog.
No, I get that, but it still comes off really uncomfortable. If that's what it's about.
And we did play that song live all the time.
I was curious about that. I'm like, I don't know if this one ever made it live.
We played it live all the time. It was one of our first songs. Like Andrew wrote it for some songwriting class. It's like it's a funny ending where it's actually about feeding the dog. And
the goal of the live show is just to entertain people and make people laugh. Really. Yeah.
We just want people to have fun.
Which I did. I remember, I think that was if not your last tour, very close to it, because that was the first time I got to see you live after being a fan of the band. And then there was never another opportunity. And I did remember walking away thinking, they put on a hell of a show. Like, you guys were a great live act that was like, because we've all been to those. We've been to those shows where the band is like looking at a poster and listening to the album. There's just no personality on stage at all.
No, we were all about the antics and running around on stage and doing stunts or whatever in between songs. Sure. And like Andrew would balance his guitar on his chin and I would jump over Brett and all kinds of we were about doing the craziest stuff we could without hurting ourselves.
So you do the second album though. You go and you do Trouble with X.
Right after I got married.
Right. Fresh off of marriage.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh, you poor thing. Your first couple of years of like your relationship sounds.
It really highlights how impressive the 27 years is.
Yeah,
actually.
honestly, it really does. Like
there's an alternate universe where it was like a year.
We got married. I left for Africa 3 days later because I had planned to take a group from my church back to the place I had been the year before. And then I got back from Uganda, and he was in the studio for like a week or 2 weeks.
Which is why originally we wanted our wedding to be June 18th, not May 22nd.
Yeah.
Or July 18th. I don't know. Yeah. We wanted it to be after she got back from Africa and after I was done recording. But
You know what? You convinced me. Fuck Reese Roper, man.
no, not fuck him. Not fuck him.
Reese just sent us the gas masks that are literally saving us right now. So
no.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He is the I've become really good friends with, I would say, 3 of the 5 Iron members so far. But he is like that white whale where I've even said to Andy, I'm like, because I listen to the podcast, I'm like, every once in a while there's like a celebrity where you hear enough of them in conversation. It kind of happened with us, Vale, honestly, where you're like, I know that if I get an hour to talk to this person will be like a consistent
friend
in my life because we have enough relatability in common that it's not just like, I'm a big fan of your stuff.
And that's all you talk about, yeah.
And that's all you can talk about. But no, I do. I'm just Duncan because he keeps avoiding every time that they say, hey, who wants to do Christian Cringe in the 5 Iron chat, he's never volunteered.
Doesn't follow through.
But we would not be married if it weren't for those guys.
Oh,
no,
yeah?
I mean they are genuinely great people.
We wouldn't have hung out. Like
sure.
It was, and in fact, the night he stalked me at their Ska Against Racism concert, Brad and Andy were like on either side of me because they didn't know him well enough yet, and they were like, I don't know about this guy.
Oh, they were like protecting you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I guess they'd only done a show or two. They're like,
they didn't know me that well at that point. Yeah. So.
But when you get to Trouble with X, like you said, like by the time you get to the second album, you're like, we need to write some songs. Like we need to actually write some songs. And my memory, correct me if I'm wrong, my memory was that album was not nearly as well received when it came out.
Oh no,
as
it was not.
But I would argue, and again, I was a kid too, where I'm like, I don't think I get this album. Now as an adult, I think that album is perfect. I really think that there is so much growth in that album, and you like listen to it, and I think that, again, doubling down on what I said about you doing waltzes on your first album, you guys really tagged a lot of different genres that are all still in that general neo swing vibe, but there is like some Dixieland here, there's some like rockabilly, like there's all these different subcategories of swing that people who didn't care about that music would not have danced around with.
Yeah. I think we tried too hard on that album and got like overcomplicated some stuff, and because people were telling us we weren't good songwriters and stuff like that. So Andrew was trying really hard to make these really complicated, intricate horn lines and stuff, and then the album came out the way it did. It was super hard to record, but we did it, and it is what it is. It's not my favorite album.
Ever since you put that out on the internet, I will tell you that the last 2 years, I guess, on Spotify Wrapped, Hit 'Em Where It Hurts and Rather Be Dead are in my Spotify Wrapped the last 2 years.
I like those 2 songs.
Yeah, those 2 songs are incredible. I think the Country Roads cover is great. I
like that. Saki did most of that, but
but I mean, it can't. I would argue, I think I said this on the episode too, I don't know, but I think I like that more than listening to the John Denver original. I think that you did everything that you want in a cover. It is distinctly your guy's own sound while being respectful to the original
source.
Like, it's not like no one wants to hear a carbon copy version of Country Road.
I do not want to hear a carbon copy. I hear a cover, I want it to be different.
Yeah, he told me it was an upbeat version. I was like, really?
And you haven't heard it yet, right?
Not yet.
I really do keep her in like a like she's
my
always in like a
upbringing.
hyperbolic chamber until it's time.
I'm definitely in a vacuum until we get to it, but like it's honestly,
she loves 5 Iron and she still hasn't heard any album past where we've covered on this podcast, because I'm like, no, I need your first
reaction.
Opinions when we get to next year's 5 Iron February.
Well, and that's honestly, it does help me experience it as I probably would have when I was a teenager or younger, just because it's just one of those things that like I like going through it and then also talking to people about it, because I'm just like, whoa, this is like a completely different experience. And I feel like that's a little bit more true to form of what I would have experienced had I not, just rushed through it and binged everything. Especially with your guys' albums and things.
Yeah. Well, and then like a year after Trouble with X comes out, I buy a 5-minute walk compilation that has one of the best songs I've ever heard from the W's. And I think, oh my God, this next W's album is gonna be great. And then silence.
It was not silence, trust me.
Poor Heather.
We were just we were not agreeing about which direction the band should go after that. There was lots of differences of opinion, and
what were the different realms that people were thinking?
Illness,
so I wanted to do more songwriting in the band, and I think Todd wanted to do more songwriting, and Andrew wanted to do all the songwriting and have it be all his stuff. And I don't know. I didn't want to be in someone else's band anymore. Like the first album was kind of like that. The second album, I got some songs on there, but I wanted to do my own thing or work with people that wanted to do more of my stuff. And so I quit. And it was kind of Brett, the trumpet player, was quitting already because he had a major medical issue on tour. We had to leave him at the hospital in Des Moines, Iowa, while they removed a part of his intestine.
It was really scary.
Intestine blockage.
God.
Yeah. And so he was out for a while, and he decided he didn't want to be in bands anymore. And then he promptly joined the Supertones.
I was going to say, which is hilarious because he's the one that's most consistently stayed in bands.
And I was like, you just didn't want to be in our band.
Yeah, but some of you were dealing with mental illness too that was untreated, undiagnosed, and I think that was a huge factor.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of mental health issues, and I've been seeing like therapists, and I'm on medication now and stuff.
Congrats.
And none of it was handled then. It was just me getting sad and depressed and angry and
I think
and anxious.
And everyone was immature and
of course,
we weren't very old.
You're in your 20s, and
I was the oldest,
and especially when it comes to late 90s now, early 2000s, where mental health was more of a butt end of a joke than it was necessarily something that you worked on.
Definitely.
Do you mind if we ask you a little bit about that, or is that?
Oh yeah, no, sure. So I have really bad depression, really bad OCD, and really bad anxiety. I have the trifecta basically.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like something will trigger something and then something will trigger something else. And when I would start feeling sad or anxious, when it's very much a chemical imbalance for me. Like sometimes things will just happen. And then I'm starting to think like, well, what's making me sad? And so then I'm trying to think of then I'm trying to make things up, I'm like, this must be making me sad. Yes. And so I was doing a lot of that before I knew what was going on. It wasn't until the band had broken up. I was working a job. I was finishing school online, and we were having our first baby. And I just I had like this suicidal moment. And because I had missed the band No Motive, they were coming through town and I had missed the show and it was already past time. And I was like, and I got all suicidal. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, this is not an appropriate reaction to
missing a band's show.
Missing a band's show. Yeah. And, and I told Heather, and I'm like, I need help,
Oh, wow.
And because her dad had a large collection of guns, and I was like making plans to I knew I got to wrap my head in a towel so the blood doesn't go everywhere. And then, I knew all this stuff, and I had planned this out. And then I was like, that's not how you react to missing, a band that you want to see. And I told her about it. And then I finally started seeing a therapist and started getting on meds.
Sure.
And, and that was 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
And then he listened to our episode of the W's, and it all came flooding back.
Oh, God. I should have worn my Take Your Meds shirt instead of my Geekscape shirt.
No.
All kidding aside, I'm glad the entire Geekscape network is about as pro of a go see a therapist and mental health podcast network as there's ever been.
Yeah. No, and
you have to want it to work though. You can't just go see a therapist because someone tells you. You have to put in the work.
Preach it.
That's with everything.
Nothing's going to happen.
No,
my brother used to say that about getting sober. He was like, you could have sent me to every rehab on the planet and given me all the reasons why I needed to get clean. But until it was my decision to get clean and go, it was not going to take.
Yeah. A lot of people that I know work something that they have depression or anxiety or whatever, and they'll just talk to me about it, and I'll be like, I'm not a therapist. You need to go see a therapist.
And then pastors are not therapists either. Pastors are not.
Thank you.
And they think well, I talked to Valentine, and we have similar things, so I'm fine now. And I'm just it's
not.
Not.
Well, and I can't say how much I'm thankful for both of your stories in this, just because I do feel like everybody will find anything besides a therapist to go to actually speak about these things.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing in the acting community as well. Like
they're talking to AI right now.
They're talking to ChatGPT, which is please don't do that. Talk
horrible.
to a human being with human experiences who can honestly and therapeutically relate and help you. But to get to a point where you, as a man in the early 2000s, are like realizing that this is a bigger reaction, that's like a huge how I mean, especially on top of the OCD and everything, how big of a shift was that in you to go to Heather and talk about that and then ask for help?
I don't know, because I'd never really talked about it. Like, I always thought that my depression was just because I was lonely, or I was a nerdy guy that didn't have friends in, high school and stuff. And I always thought that was the reason for me. I always thought there was like justifications for it. So, so I never thought. And then I tell my family about this, like my parents and brother and sister and stuff. And my mom's like, oh yeah, lots of people on our side of the family have really bad depression. You're like grandpa's on meds, your aunt's on meds. And it's like, no one ever told me any of this before. I had no idea. Yeah. It was like this kind of hidden thing, because mental health was hidden. So I've tried to be very forthcoming with my mental illness. Just let everyone know, hey, here's me. This is what I am. This is what you're dealing with. If I seem like I'm whatever, maybe it's a bad day for me. Please give me some grace. But just and then also just forthcoming with it to keep it. I don't know. Just keep it out there so it's more people see it and more people think of it as just a regular thing and not something that needs to be hidden or whatever.
Hidden, ignored,
yeah. But once I found out it was there's all the people in my family that had it and it was chemically treated, then I was like, oh my god, it's chemical imbalance.
I don't know if you guys are watching The Pit right now. I know it's not for everybody, and
we haven't watched the second season yet.
We watched half of the first season and haven't come back to it.
Okay.
We just need happier shows sometimes with what's happening in the world.
100% understand.
We loved The Pit.
Huge recommend if you've got Apple TV, boy, do they have some of the wholesome ones for you, like Shrinking and Ted Lasso and Stick.
Yes.
All three of those shows have been lovely.
We like Shrinking. What is that?
It's a Believe.
Oh, Believe. Yeah. Okay.
But there are Apple TV also has really great sci-fi stuff, which is happy in a weird.
They also have stuff that will make you very sad. And
there's that. Murderbot is great.
I can't watch some of those. I love Murderbot. I read all those books.
Me too. Yes.
They're amazing.
I was thinking for the OCD thing.
Exactly.
Now we're just recommending shows. But another really great Apple TV show that got not nearly enough attention and only lasted 2 seasons, The After Party.
Oh, so good.
If you like a good
if
you like a good improv comedy murder mystery type vibe, After Party is an absolute must-watch delight.
The first season's the best. I will say the second season wasn't quite my favorite, but it was so unique in the first season.
The second season wasn't as good, but I still would have watched a third, fourth, fifth, and sixth season if we were given the It wasn't so bad that I was like, I'm glad this is canceled.
I didn't realize it was canceled. It
was a bummer. But now I'm watching my brother recommend it, Search Party, which I think just dropped on Netflix, which is the actress who plays Maybe from Arrested Development. Mm-hmm. It was written by Michael Showalter of The State.
Oh, wow.
And it ran for 5 seasons, 2 years on TBS and then 3 on HBO. But it's a girl's friend from college goes missing, and she's trying to find her friend. But the comedy of the show is that they are all just the most self-centered, awful,
young
recently graduated
New York,
from college people. They're very they all show up at the candlelight vigil, but one of them is just there to get $5 back from a girl that he lent $5. They're just all so self-absorbed, and she's the only one who actually cares about finding this person. It's been we've been laughing a lot watching it, even though it is a much darker murder mystery show than The After Party was.
We finally started watching Bob's Burgers.
Good. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh. And that's at the end of a night of just hell. We're just 2 or 3 Bob's Burgers makes me feel better. And by now we're almost through season 14, so I don't know what we're going to do.
That was Brooklyn Nine-Nine for my girlfriend and I for a while. We would just throw on some Brooklyn Nine-Nine and just
rewatch. Yeah.
There's you know what? Comfort shows do their job.
They really do.
They really do.
Yep.
They right now we're doing a Scrubs rewatch to get ready for the new season, and you know, it's just nice to be like, oh, there's my friends. My old TV friends are all back and they're happy, and I love it.
Yep.
Val and Heather, thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with us and letting us go in so many directions.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And I've told this is extended to both of you, whether you want to come on together again or separately. If there is any piece of your Christian memories that you're like, you know what, I really just want to revisit this album with some people, or rewatch this VeggieTales episode. Listen, we love if it's
Christian
good.
stuff than
Yeah, I grew up in it. I knew all of it before he did.
Listen,
it's,
or surprise us with something good, because that's also been a real. Every once in a while, someone will be like, "No, here's this band." Like when we listened to Stryper for the first time.
oh my gosh.
We were like, "Oh, like there's some cheesiness to this, but musically, this is unbelievable." Versus when someone's like, "Check out Christ Safari."
Oh my gosh. No. That was the weird thing about going on tour too with him, was meeting all these people that I had grown up listening to, and just like being confronted with them was so odd.
Let me ask this question. I'm not going to ask the reverse of this question, I promise. Excluding the Five Iron people who we all know are great, who was like the person you grew up being a fan of that you were the most satisfied with how much they lived up to what you hoped they would be as a person?
Oh gosh,
it's a good question, man.
I'm sure there's plenty of answers for the reverse, but like,
I will say the person I was most starstruck by was singer-songwriter on 5 Minute Walk, Sherry Youngward, because I loved her music.
Okay.
And she was just like, we got to go on a label retreat, and just I got to hang out with her in the ocean in Florida, and it was like the most magical day, because I just respected her lyrics and her music and who she was so much that she was probably the person I was most like, oh my god.
I don't think you may have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the spelling now, and
I
I
would
do
give
remember
her,
this name.
she's got different spellings of it, but people would, ask me who to recommend on our label, and I would always recommend Sherry Youngward.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
The Electrics were super fun to be around. They were just
This
like
Irish
these
band.
old Irish
I remember
guys
the Electrics.
that
I
were a lot
remember
older than us, and they were so much fun. It was
They
really
didn't
funny.
care what they were supposed to do either. They would say fuck a lot and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Well, I was gonna say they were another one where I'm like, because I had 2 or 3 of their albums, and I would put them in that same category as the W's of like, yeah, there'd be like 1 or 2 overtly religious songs, and then there'd just be some crazy
fun.
songs about drinking.
Yeah.
They had
Yep.
so
Yeah.
many songs about drinking on their album.
Yeah.
And there was no pressure with them to be a certain level of Christian, and they weren't doing the altar calls either and those things. And
That's great.
and then I listened to Prayer Chain a lot in high school. Are you familiar with them?
That
really
one I
familiar,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
So
seen the
it's
name,
like,
but I've never
I don't know,
listened.
like grunge
Their
alternative
lead singer was
rock.
Tim Tabor.
Yeah, so their lead
Okay.
singer was Tim Tabor, who ended up being management for Insiders and some other people.
Yeah.
And so he was on the Holy Roller tour with us at one point, and Val thought it was hilarious because he's like, you had a crush on him.
And so I told him that.
And so he told him that, and I was like, okay, Tim, but you're like an old man now. So.
And she kept telling him he was an old man, and he was always trying to like be impressive to her then. And
Oh, no.
And she'd be like, no, you're an old man now.
So that was really funny.
I felt
just
bad
like,
after that. I was like, I shouldn't have told him that.
Yeah, I mean, it was awkward, but it was funny. You know, it was like funny
Sure.
to meet this person that I did have a crush on, but was way older than me and stuff. It was the same thing. Oh my gosh, with Kevin Max, that was weird too. Because like as an elementary school kid, I was like, he's the weird one, like he's the cute one, whatever. And then he came running off the stage. By that time, I was way over it. Like he was not my kind of person at that point. But he came running off the stage, and he thought I was his wife, and he came up to like hug me and stuff. And I was
They had
like,
the same exact hair.
this is so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just this weird, like,
And then he was like, oh.
yeah. So there were lots of moments like that were just kind of fun. I mean, there were the bad ones too, where I was like, oh, I shouldn't have met you.
Kevin Mack's a weird man, but as we've learned in the last couple of years, not the worst member of DC.
Not the worst.
No, exactly not.
By far.
But even like I had hung out with some other kind of big Christian bands before they were big, just because I was a kid at these shows in the Bay Area. We had all kinds of shows. And just watching some of them transform and what like their fame and popularity did to them while they at the same time were trying to be super Christian was pretty weird and hard to watch.
Sure.
I think the close and these guys I actually think were really cool and kind of lived their message. But being in Pennsylvania, I remember there was this band that played in our Christian Philly music scene a lot called Last Tuesday that got signed to Matt Thiessen eventually got like his own little sub label with Goatee called Mono versus Stereo. And he signed them, and they were kind of like the first big band that they were pushing, and they broke up shortly after to kind of dedicate their lives to living in Africa and Mexico, building wells and like doing the mission work that they cared about. And I'm like, at least they like actually meant it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I would say most of the people that we spent time with, especially on tour, when I was on tour, were authentic, and
that's all you can ask
was when
for.
we go to the bigger festivals and encounter some people that we had different. Some of the coolest people ever were Lost and Found. These two guys, George and Michael. Why can't I think of his name? And they would like MC
lots of
shows.
Yeah.
They would host like the big festival shows, and they were just the funniest, most authentic people.
There was a guy playing acoustic guitar and a guy playing piano.
Okay.
And they just had these super fast songs, but they were very overtly Christian and evangelical, and their songs were. But
they deconstructed.
Yeah, they were just funny and quirky, and but they were super cool.
They weren't evangelical in the bad way.
No, definitely not in a bad way. No, sorry, that's a bad word.
Yeah, don't use that word.
They didn't do altar calls or anything like that either.
They did not.
Their song was about telling people about Christ, basically.
Yeah.
But they weren't. Yeah,
but they were
cool.
so genuine and
greasy
wonderful.
And they were cool. Yeah.
Love that. And everybody, go check out Val's podcast that I hope will one day have a 5th episode in defense of Kesha.
Yeah, in defense of Kesha.
He's doing music now too.
Oh, you didn't even tell us about the music.
Yes, please.
Todd and Brett and I, Todd from the W's and Brett from the W's, we get together. Well, I get together with Brett a bunch, but then Todd lives in this town called Maupin, which is about 2 hours east of Portland. It's just like a tiny little town, nothing to do there. And we'll just go there like 3 or 4 times a year and hang out for 4 or 5 days and just record songs.
Hey.
And they're just, it's just stuff that like we've been working on, and we released it. We released 11 songs December 31st. Ooh. And it's called Scrappy Without the S.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can find it on all the stuff.
Awesome.
Oh, I'm definitely going to check that out.
Kind of sounds like They Might Be Giants.
Fun.
Oh, now I'm very much going to check them out.
Yeah,
I was going to say, you've got a bassist, a saxophone player, and a trumpet player, so I'm very interested in what the vibe is.
So I play guitar on all of it and sing the vocals, which I never did either of those in the W's. Todd played a lot of the bass. Brett played trumpet on one song, but he and I did a lot of like MIDI programming too and stuff. And I have a friend that plays drums, and he played real drums on a few songs. And I have a friend that plays accordion. So there's accordion on like 4 or 5 tracks. I got my son to play marimbas on one song.
I am diving into this like later on.
They're all super short songs too. So I think it's 11 songs, 22 minutes. So if you hate it, at least it's over with quick.
And it's just the coolest thing, honestly. Like the ending of the W's was really hard. Like even the friendships kind of just dissolved away. But then when he was on another podcast and started to be far enough away from it to have like the nostalgia and the good memories, like it triggered him and Brett and Todd getting back together, and it's just been so awesome.
Oh, that's so lovely
and so beautiful to see that friendship come back, and for them to have good memories again of playing music together, and to be able. Everyone's so much more mature now that we can look at it and
now that we're 50
and see the good things and the laugh about the good times and kind of start releasing some of the harder moments of all of that. So that music is really special because it shows it's an awesome part of seeing that happen. Some of the songs are really old. Like, you've had those songs forever.
Yeah. One of the songs was written while we were recording the first album, but
But didn't get it.
They were like, that can't be on our record. No, they didn't. I wrote a few songs around the time of the first album. They're like, nope, those aren't going to be on the album. So,
but to have he and Todd and Brett do these songs together is really cool.
Oh, that's got to be.
Val,
so
did you have something to do with the Wesley Willis parody, though? Did we talk about that?
I wrote that whole thing. Yeah,
the
In
5 Iron
studio,
Frenzy song at the end.
Yeah, I loved Wesley Willis. I had convinced everyone else that Wesley Willis was cool, and we're like, let's do a Wesley Willis tribute to 5 Iron, like a secret track. And Masaki, who produced everything, he loved Wesley Willis too, and we're like, yep, we're doing it.
Yeah.
No one else wanted to do the vocals because they didn't want to, come across looking stupid. And I don't care if I look stupid.
I love
so
that.
I'll just do it.
Good.
And while we were recording it, Saki kept telling me, "You're singing it too well."
Oh.
You have to sing he would keep making me redo it until it was like bad enough. So.
Oh wow.
No, I think I told you this. This was not on the anniversary album podcast when we talked about Goldfinger. I think it was afterwards. We were just shooting the shit, and I was like, that was one of those amazing moments where I was listening to a band that I liked, and they knew a reference point that none of my friends understood. Like, and I was like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, this is,
Well, it's cool
there's
too,
only one
coming-
thing that this could be is Wesley Willis.
coming
Yeah.
from a person that like didn't know about Wesley Willis or whatever, like having Matt usher me through that whole experience and be like, oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense within context.
And I knew it wasn't going to make sense to anyone,
Yeah.
but it made sense.
Well, it made
And
sense
that's-
to one
like
kid
you
in
said,
Philadelphia listening to his WC.
Like you said, a lot of those songs were like, they made sense to us, and we didn't think anyone else was going to, they were going to make sense. But we also didn't think we were going to sell 200,000 records.
Yeah.
We thought, we'll sell like 5,000 maybe.
Sure.
We're not
You
going to do
didn't
better
think that
than
two
5
people were going to
Iron.
make a podcast deep diving into every line of the songs and trying to figure out what they were
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
No, I
no.
know.
There was
Yeah.
not a lot of thought put into any of that stuff. So,
Not
like I said,
at
the
all.
second album, more thought was put into it. We tried harder, but still maybe not as hard as we should have. So,
But now you
It did not go
I-
into the first album.
I still
There was
ride
so
for that
little
album,
thought
but-
that went into the first album.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a cool, like, punk band cover in there. There's a lot of cool things that I think you got away with for a debut album.
Yeah.
That you guys should be proud of.
Do you know what
yeah.
else did not go into the first album? Do you remember what else did not go into the first album? Do
I
you
didn't.
remember?
I didn't thank her in the thank yous. Whoa! Because I wasn't sure.
Right?
So we were hanging out the whole time we were recording. She would come to the studio and hang out with me all day, and I was like, I don't know if she likes me or not. I was really stupid, and
You
I
are,
was just
dude.
like, yeah. I was like, if she doesn't like me, and I tell her I like her, and then I have a thank you to her there, and she doesn't like me, I'm like, that's gonna
Be
like
embarrassing.
haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
no, that's rough.
And by the time I had told her, it was like too late. We already put all the label art, all the art stuff was already in, all my thank yous were already in. So
So they
Yeah,
really
I
didn't
didn't
want
like
you
it.
guys
I
having
will
sex on tour.
Yeah. I'm not going to air any dirty laundry on our podcast, but I'm going to tell you a quick story after we're done recording.
okay.
But
But
you know
yeah,
what?
I was in other
I'm just gonna
people's
say,
thank
Val, you're
yous,
justified.
But not Val's.
You're
Yeah.
justified in the concern. I think it's a very justifiable concern.
Thank you.
He was
the time.
not justified. All his bandmates had me in there.
Yeah, everybody kept telling me, "Oh, she likes you. Just tell her. Just tell her."
Well, I think that's even funnier that everybody but him thanks you in their liner notes. I think that that's great.
Oh, poor thing is going to be thinking about this nonstop.
I'm never gonna be able. I've never been able to live this down.
I
It's
love it.
brought
I
up all
love
the time.
schooling.
Yeah.
Okay,
I should hope that after this many years,
No, it's still. I love.
She's
to
never gonna
hold
let it
over
go.
him.
Yeah.
It just cracks me up because I'm like, why was I down there every day hanging out with you in that smelly studio while you guys were playing video games? Like,
Heather, I don't know if
Friends.
you know this, but 20-year-old men are dumb. We're dumb. It needs to be spelled out for us or we
Yep.
don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I was 24, I think, at that point.
Oh, well,
it's the
that's
same
not
thing.
acceptable.
23. Yeah, I was a dumbass. I was a dumbass. Yeah.
I think that's where we're ending.
Perfect.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistant's assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.